The Tour of Spain route for 2020 has just been announced, and it is pan, flat, everywhere. I am of course joking, it's absolutely brutal. Again. The race will start in the Netherlands for the second time in its history. The first was in 2009 when Alejandro Valverde won by just 55 seconds. And as you might expect from the Netherlands, it was a very flat first 3 days and not even a categorised climb. Well, we might have a similar thing this year, so strap yourselves in for some very slow days in the beginning. The only difference is the team time trial that often starts the Vuelta these days, a 24km circuit around Utrecht. This is almost double the length of the test that started this year's Vuelta, another technical and urban course that saw eventual winner Primož Roglič lose 40 seconds after his Jumbo-Visma team crashed. You'd think that the wind would pose a major challenge on stages 2 and 3, but I don't think it will. Stage 2 is often changing direction with minimal straight sections, but certainly has more opportunities than Stage 3, which is a 200km loop around Breda. Thankfully, Stage 4 returns us to the Spanish mainland after a rest day and straight to a summit finish. It's more of a hilly day really, but it's a traditional finish in the Tour of the Basque Country, a stage that Emmanuel Buchmann won earlier this year. The term summit finish is a loose term. The final 2k are actually rolling terrain with a downhill finish, but at 5km this stage will thin out the GC crowd. Stage 5 is an undulating day setting out from Pamplona, which can spell trouble. A 10k climb will be followed by 17km of flat to downhill terrain on good roads, and I think a breakaway is likely to succeed here. On paper, the summit finish on stage 6 also looks pretty insignificant, and the big contenders will definitely not have their name pinned on this one. The steepest kilometre average is only 9%, and the first 8k is just false flat. I predict that the break will stay away, and the leader's jersey will change to an unlikely rider, like happened twice on this year's Vuelta, with Dylan Teuns and Nicola Ede respectively. Even though the break stayed away here in 2018, Stage 7 is flat, and the peloton should come in together for a bunch sprint. The following day is in the hills of Asturias. In typical Vuelta fashion, the GC favourites will be unmoved while the breakaway plays around for the stage win. These days, where the escape goes all the way to Lyme can be pretty active, so don't discount this one. Following the theme from 2019, it's a very difficult stage 9 with a 29km climb out of the gate. After a long descent, they cross into France for the second year in a row, this time tackling the Col d'Aubisque and the Col de Tourmalet. They will climb the Tourmalet from the same side as they did when the Tour de France finished atop the climb this year, that stage being won by FDJ's Thibaut Pinot. Following the second rest day, there is a strange little circuit around a Cat 1 climb on stage 10. With the final climb topping out 14k from the finish, it's not impossible that a hard-luck GC contender could try something on this stage, but most will keep their powder dry for stage 11, where we get a preview of the mountains with a big summit finish on the Alto de Moncavillo. At over 10km in length, there's a big opportunity for another shake-up here. We'll really start to get a feel for the GC at this point, because after this, people are going to be tired. After all that, it's a disappointing couple of days with pan-flat terrain on stages 12 and 13, but I guess we can't have mountains every day. Stage 14 is another summit finish, this one up to La Farapona. It was previously visited in 2014 when Alberto Contador took the stage from Chris Froome. The final half of the climb averages nearly 10%, but this is only the beginning of the hellish weekend. The following day finished on top of the Angleroo, one of the most feared climbs in cycling. The climb goes up in steps, firstly 8% for 5km, then up a notch to 15%, and then an absolutely horrible 23% for the final 3k. Despite a hilly TT the next stage, the climbers will need some time on this truly epic climb. After the rest day will be treated to a boring TT. It is good to see, however, that the course is anything but boring and actually provides some pretty decent challenges, like the 8km climb that starts the stage and a final climb that averages nearly 15%. If you weren't catching on by now, there are not many obvious sprint days in the Vuelta. A few Cat 3 climbs on stage 17 should distance the sprinters once more, but the hills are too puny to excite the GC men. In an attempt to visit as many countries as possible in one tour, Stage 18 will cross us into Portugal for what looks to be one of the few sprint days into Porto. But, as we saw this year, sprint stages in the final week of Grand Tours can never be trusted. There will also be a level of caution from everybody of Stage 19 as we cross back into Spain. The reason being is the crossings that may split the race at any moment, as they seem to do almost every year. Finally, the GC reckoning. The Auto da Covatia will decide the Vuelta on the final climb, where Ben King won in 2018 and Simon Yates took the red jersey for the first time. The running is undulating, but also no real big mountains before the final test, so I think it will all be decided on the last climb. A slightly easier Vuelta route compared to normal levels of absolute brutality that give this race its name, but the race winner in 2020 will have to come in to race on top form, and also be able to hang on in the crosswinds and mountains of the final week. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.